Good morning, everyone, and welcome. This is Joe Scarice, your co-founder, co-host, and house here on Clubhouse every Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, providing education, networking, and strategy. So let's get rocking and rolling here. Start inviting some peeps in and get started here. We have a special guest coming in here, and hopefully in a few minutes, hopefully she'll be able to get in there and get herself set up. We're going to be talking about why today's dirt is so valuable in land banking. So we're going to get rocking and rolling. Let me just invite people in, then I'm going to invite others up. We're going to get deep into a discussion right now. A lot of updates on the market, real updates on events, which I'm really excited about too. So we'll get started here in just a few minutes. But I think this discussion will definitely be different. It was provided by, in a few minutes, let me just get plugging and playing here. It's always the whole timing of things of plugging in and inviting people up. Well, all right, get everybody moderator up. Marcel, if you don't, and then my thumbs can only go so quick. Now we got our moderators up and running. We'll get people going here. But I think this is a really interesting discussion, why today's dirt is tomorrow's gold, land banking. I'm seeing a lot of more discussions with land as well. So when Linda made the introduction, I was like, okay, let's try this discussion out. And we're always trying to tackle different discussions. You know, the Creative Birth Strategies podcast we're getting very close to 150 episodes in January. And I'm very proud of that, working with Yardell Perkins of Perkatech, who's our core sponsor and support, now doing individual interviews, one-on-ones, once a month in Philadelphia as well, to add to what we're doing. They were tying it all into events that we're holding through Real Estate Mastermind Strategies. We're having a second Monday of every month in Philadelphia, second Saturday in Philadelphia, second Wednesday in Lehigh Valley, third Thursday in January in North Jersey, up in Newark, New Jersey, which I'm excited about. And because we've been doing, it looks like we're going to be committing to the second Thursday of the month in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Central. So we'll see how that goes. We've got really four big events, maybe even five, all with Pace Morby finishing off the year. I'm sponsoring Philadelphia, Harrisburg, Pittsburgh, New York City, where Pace. I'm really looking to meet the creative people there, tying it into the unsecured business lines of credit. Just meeting as many people as possible before the end of the year, because to me, it's numbers. Being in the lending space, I need to meet, whether people are going to either become white label brokers or capital partners of ours, referral partners where I could pay origination, game space, in meeting and greeting with people. So I'm excited about the end of the year. I'll also be in Rhode Island, Providence, Rhode Island, and be in front of so many people before the end of the year. It's been a very busy year. We're going to get into 200 episodes sometime second quarter of next year. It's just identifying the right subject matter. You could follow myself on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram. All the content, all the articles are being pushed out on a day-to-day basis. A lot of video work is being pushed out right now from our last white label course. We're going to probably not have the one in December. We're going to push it into New York on in January in New York City. So we're going to kind of push out the December one, because we're pretty involved with a lot of networking events as is. So let's get caught up in the market. I'm going to be briefly interviewing her, then opening it up to our moderators to kind of give their thoughts or statements or questions back to Marcella as well. And the moderators here this morning are not scripted at all. So they're totally this is just a new discussion where they just learn on a conventional side. Rates on the commercial side, on my side, on non-QM, you're probably anywhere between 6 and 7%, depending on credit score, LTV, DSCR, loan amount. The larger loan amounts are getting better rates. I just did a blanket loan, locked somebody in on a blanket loan purchase at 6%, 30-year fixed money. So, I mean, that's pretty damn good. But so we're still seeing a very heavy inquiry on fixed to rent, fixed to flip, and new construction. Fixed to rent, fixed to flip money, bridge money is somewhere between 8.375 and 10.25, depending on experience, complexity of the project. And that's been pretty steady, in rates. That's going to stay very inexpensive. At this time, all fixed to rent, fixed to flip, and new construction has gone virtual with the appraisals. DSCR, I foresee that going virtual appraisal probably sometime next year, third quarter. So I see that coming as well. So interesting update there. A couple interesting articles that you're seeing DSCR compressing. You're seeing days on the market on rentals compressing. So you're seeing the average rental up for rent for 2 to 3 months in a lot of markets. And that's a lot longer, especially in the affordable housing space. And that gets me a little nervous, especially in the urban settings when there's supposedly a backlog of vouchers out there. But I feel like the housing authorities are now getting into the housing business and gobbling up a lot of those housing vouchers. And my concern there is who they're going to pay first, you or themselves. And who's inspecting them is the question of the day. So I foresee some issues in that affordable housing space going into 26. Another article that caught my eye let's see here. I mean, there's some housing markets that are at risk. I'm going to name the top five that are on the watch list. Charlotte County, Florida. Hometown, Shasta County, California. Butte County, California. And one that really catches my eyes, Cumberland County, New Jersey. I really like that area. I feel like it's affordable. The barrier of entry is there. I'd probably say that there's a lot of aggressive. I actually know of one former client that's in foreclosure in 20 properties in the Cumberland, Salem County market, and Atlantic County market, maybe more. I know of 20. So maybe that's impacting the bottom line nationally. Who knows? But that's very interesting to watch. I will put an article out on that as well. And then a little update to the Fed Reserve meeting in December, rate cut. I don't think it's going to impact the rates that much. What I think is most problematic and the biggest risk, the Fed cuts by 25 basis points to bring it to 3 point. Economic slowdown and softening labor market continues to weigh. And one risk I see is the Fed pauses instead, or signals very cautiously if inflation doesn't convincingly fall or if missing late data makes them wary. So also internal division could lead to dissent or mixed messaging. I don't really see a big issue with rate change, probably till February when the Trump administration announces who's going to be the new Fed chair. That is where you're going to see a lot of volatility in the market, hopefully coming down. And hopefully you see somewhat of a market in there last year. So it was very sectional where the market was popping here and there. I'm seeing a lot less realtors going to conventions and expos. Triple Play is coming up this week in New Jersey, PA, and New York, and they're giving hotel rooms away. No one is going to it. So very interesting to watch. I'm sure that's nationally and what that's looking like. So let's get into the young lady that we're interviewing today, Marcella Silva. She is out of the San Francisco area, regional manager of Dirt is Gold, and a certified land banking consulting. She's built long-term wealth by acquiring strategically located California markets, but I'm sure elsewhere. And we'll get driven analysis with Teacher's Heart, breaking down complex concepts so everyday investors can confidently diversify beyond traditional stocks, 401ks, and tenant-heavy rentals. Through her Dirt is Gold brand, webinars, and educational content, gained hundreds of clients and relocating millions of dollars into carefully vetted land parcels positioned for long-term appreciation and legacy building. So I met Marcella through Linda Pelagas of Really 411. I don't know if Linda's here this morning, but I don't think she is. I'm a big fan of new construction, big fan. So we're very aggressive going into the new year. I need to meet as many new construction developers as I possibly can. So I'm putting that out there because we have a lot of money to put to work. So this land backing types in. Marcella, good morning and welcome. Brief overview. Hello. Good morning from the West Coast.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, Joseph.
We didn't have to worry about a bad hair day, right? You're on audio, right?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Okay. No, I think you're okay.
Okay, perfect. And just
guys, we'll go into the questions we laid out, and then we'll
having me here today. Hello to everyone. My name is Marcella Silva, and a little background on myself and how I got into this. Growing up, actually, I used to watch my parents invest in where I'm from. And, when you're a kid, you don't really pay attention to what your parents do, especially if they specifically teaching you, but they were very smart in their land investing, which helped put me through it. So fast forward a little bit, I was recruited straight out of college to work at Lawrence Livermore National Labs, which is in California, which is now where I live today. But I was recruited there and worked there for a little over 10 years. And back in transition, they completely my old 401k and roll it into the new 401k program they were putting together, or do something else with it. And I vividly remember sitting at my kitchen table, myself, the only way this goes up is when I put money into it. This is ridiculous. I'm never going to be able to retire at this rate. To do something different. And I really was feeling called towards investing in that I could see, that I could touch, that would actually go up in value. That started my journey to determined I wanted real estate. It's a phenomenal opportunity. I mean, so much wealth has been created in real estate in California. So started going to seminars, reading books, educating. Not to say that that's bad or that that's wrong. It just wasn't for me. I didn't have the time, patience, or reach. I kept up my search and eventually found something called land banking. It's the practice of buying pre-developed land located in the path of growth. Most people on this call have seen this happen before their eyes. They just probably didn't know there was a term for it or how to even get involved in this type of investment. So General Douglas MacArthur describes what I do best when he said, all a person has to do to get rich in America is find out where people are going, get there first, buy land while it's affordable, and then wait. So in 2008, I took my old 401k, rolled it into a self-directed IRA, and bought my first property. This was 2008 when everything was crashing. So many people. In the year of me owning my land. So I was like, okay, wow, there really is something to this land banking company software engineering job to about how I ended up where I am now.
So Marcella, this ties into, to me, guys, I don't know if you know my background. I'm a direct private lender. So when I hear land banking, I hear the opportunity of getting a piece of land ready for construction, right? And potentially selling it at a premium based on shovel readiness or the opportunity of building A, B, or C. Plan with land banking. We won't go into locations because I feel like anywhere is a good location. But when you're doing the land banking, are you looking to mature? Okay.
So let's bring a little clarity to what land banking is. Mm-hmm. There's multiple different stages of land, and kind of what you talked about, getting land shovel ready for developers. Those would be considered more entitlement, and the asset that's needed at some point for something. It needs to rise when it's located in a high growth area, which not everywhere is high growth. It's very critical to understand the economics of an area, the growth of an area, what is good land and what is not good land, to be positioned in areas where there's not a lot of land, where a lot of development is coming in. So less and less of it available, the value of it continues to rise. So a great example is, look at the keyboard on, and let's say I own the letter J, and a developer comes along and decides they want to buy the entire keyboard, the different parcels of land to build something. I don't care what it is that they're building. Land. It's not like you run off to Costco to find another piece of land. There's only so much of it available. That positions me as a landowner in a very powerful, lucrative position to the price for my property. So land is an imperfect market, such it allows us to get arbitrage. One thing that you can't really do with like housings or stock market, the price is what the price is. But with land, you can literally see, like I have a property that I bought for $1 per square foot. It's now worth over $30 per square foot because there's not much land left in the particular location where that property is. So land banking is not about packaging land for developers. It's about owning land in high growth areas.
I like that. Okay, so listen, I'm, which is not that's where we separate, and that's fine. And do you train that at all in your training? Hey, if you want to take it to the next step, you could do this, but be the lazy investor and just make your margin and walk away. Let me ask you that question. I'm very focused in new construction, so I'm very interested in this land banking, controlling land. Are you optioning it? Are you owner financing it? What is your direction with investors controlling the land? What's the plan?
Years specialized in land banking, so doing the research to, number one, find the right areas. Right, what are the macroeconomics that are happening that is economics on a more local level? And then what is good quality land parcels in the area? So we are all about doing the due diligence of the land, of the areas, and our company actually acquires the land investors who are looking to diversify their portfolios into this type of investment opportunity. Very kind of plug and play, easy.
Yeah.
For investors to get these parcels.
So what does land have to do with AI?
That's a good question. We all hear about AI all day, every day. Well, right now, specifically, especially here in California, there are government mandates that have been put in place, which are moving us away from fossil fuels to green energy. So it's a very unique opportunity to not only own the land that everything needs, but also to own energy. So California has mandated, so have corporations throughout the world, to go green. In other words, there's a massive wealth shift happening right now to move away from fossil fuels to green energy. And so everything needs energy, especially AI. AI alone, just in the next 4 years, will create an energy demand just in California alone equivalent to the entire year. Where are they going to get enough energy for that? That is one of the biggest issues that data centers AI has, is being able to get enough energy. We happen to be investing in the number one location in not just California, but the entire United States energy projects. So you're looking at like solar, wind projects, battery energy storage systems. It's been mind-blowing how much land has been consumed. 30 square miles of land with over $120 billion worth and projects coming in. And so as AI is ramping across the globe, the countries, the cities, the states that will win the quote-unquote AI race are the ones who are able to get the energy sources for it.
So what's the minimum
example? Right? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to ask you what's the minimum investment here? Like what should people expect in doing land banking, whether working with you or on their own after being trained by you?
5,000.
Yeah.
Get them a property right in the middle of all the action. Yeah, it's affordable for the average investor to get into this.
Is there a syndication, or does the investor have to own the land outright? Is it a syndication, meaning the way that you're buying it, or these guys or gals are going in 100% themselves?
Yeah, no, they're able to acquire the land 100% themselves. They get the grant deed and policy of title insurance. So when someone buys it with us, they're not buying it to a syndication. Although they get full control and ownership.
Yeah, what's the relationship between land and economics?
So economics drives growth, right? The areas where we're investing, we want to have multiple different trends, so 6, 7 different trends causing an area to grow. That way, if any one trend stops, then that's not going to stop development from happening in an area. We want development that downturns or pandemics, all the things. So you really causing it to grow. It's a strong economy, and there's lack of available land. In California, there's less than 2% of California's land left to be developed, and that was over 20 years ago, according to a UC Berkeley study.
So, what's them first? And then, I'm trying to get an idea. What does that all take?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, with us, we want to make it as easy and plug and play as possible. So for people who want to do land banking with us, the first recommended step is to educate yourself and watch my land banking webinar to learn all about the who, the where, the what, the basic details of and why. And so people can go to my website, dirtisgold.com, and sign up to watch the webinar there.
Yeah, can you either have Linda or you put that in the comments? I'd like to see that. Or if anybody wants to reach out to me, obviously I can make email introductions as well. And we're going to obviously cut and edit this podcast and get it out, for you, so you can, we could send it out as well. So I appreciate that. I'm going to open it up to the ladies first, because try to be a gentleman on Sundays here and every day. So we always go with the roses amongst the thorns. We'll start with Linda, who invited and made the introduction. Linda, a brief overview who you are, and do you have a question or statement for Marcella this morning on why today's dirt is tomorrow's gold in land banking?
Good morning, Phil. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Who I've been working with for a number of years now. Land banking, one of the reasons it's a great way of getting in is because it's affordable. It's an affordable way of purchasing property, and California has appreciated about 10% per year on average. On average, it has doubled in price. Such a in demand. In just for, as a sidebar personal story, my husband's uncle purchased land in the Inland Empire of California in the 1970s. So it was a long time. He was vegetables. I can't make a day out of it and forage for green veggies and stuff. And he decided to buy some land so they can go out there and have fun and, forage for veggies and camp out and stuff. And then when he sold that land, and it was quite a bit, I think it was about like 100 acres. It was a lot of land. And when they did end up selling it, after he passed away, I believe it was like in the 2000s. They ended up making millions of dollars from that. I think land can be such a great investment if it's purchased in strategic areas. And it's certainly a great way of getting into the market for less money and not having to deal with the traditional headaches of landlording and providing housing, which are, like tenants, repairs, and dealing with issues like that. So it's a more stress-free way to get into the market. It's less money to get into the market. And right now there are so many solar projects, wind projects, in California, even driving, from Las Vegas, from Phoenix, you're going to see a lot of the California area. So those are some of the reasons why I love working with Marcella and introducing her to new investors at our live events and through our webinars and such. So thank you so much again through our webinars and such. So thank you so much again, Joseph, for all the great work you do. And back to you.
Thank you. Marcella, anything to add before we go to our next moderator?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for that. And Linda mentioned about California real estate continuing to go up, and then probably thinking she was talking specifically about residential, because for us with our land, we're looking at, minimum of 25% return on our properties. And I've seen it go a lot higher than that as well. So just wanted to bring a little point of clarity.
For that, Marcella.
So
Linda, I appreciate you.
Yeah, that's great. And now we go to our next moderator. She's our AI Prop Tech Council gurus. Good morning, Amy. Welcome. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and do you have some thoughts, statements, questions from Marcella? Today's dirt is tomorrow's gold, land banking.
Hey, thanks, Joe. Welcome to the room, Marcella. Just landed. A couple of the caveats that haven't been mentioned is you got to understand that they're long-term holds. You're going to have to pay taxes along the way. It's not income producing to offset any expenses that you have. So you just need to understand that going in to any sort of land investing. With the changes in the administration, green energy is not as much viable unless there's state incentives. So you just need to be aware of that. And data centers are not using green energy as an energy source. Very rarely do they. It's always like an ancillary source. So you have to just don't that be. So you just have to but land is great. I mean, I do power land all the time. What I do is I buy land and then I build a little bit of infrastructure for it and make the best returns because that's what the data centers need. They need power. So that's kind of what I do in the land. It's not really necessarily land banking. I'm not just buying and holding in the path of progress, but adding a little value to it. But it is a great real estate investment. So my question for you, Marcella, would be on your land holds, how long are you typically holding them? What is the average? I know you have an average return, but what are the average costs per year holds?
Sure. I'm curious, have you developed these
right now? So most of the data centers are being developed outside of California.
300 data centers in California with more planned, actually one of the largest ones planned in the area where we're investing. And California has mandates to go 100% green energy. On a federal level, California is pushing forward at a very rapid pace for green energy projects. And we're seeing it happening on the ground with, like I said, over $120 billion already invested, with another $5 billion planned for infrastructure development.
Yeah, no, that's not the largest. I just to be clear, the largest areas for development right now in the data center world are not California. The largest areas are, there's Loudoun County. Actually, Texas has being requested for data centers in Texas alone. So California has land construction. They also, this green energy push is moving the data center developments out of California, because green energy does not work for a data center, especially AI, because it cannot handle the AI loads. And so just go down the wrong path and assume that you're going to bank on something that's just not going to come to fruition. That's all I'm trying to do, is help you out.
No, I understand that. And there's a lot more to it besides AI. It's just AI, tremendous amount of electricity growth and need. There's a data center current, or not a data center, to gain all of the energy from that for their data center. So it's so much more than data centers as well. That's just one little piece of it. But California has also selling their renewable energy to other states as well. So it's a matter of California creating the energy that's needed to power everything. And another big, huge energy consumer here in California is electric. That's growing at a very rapid pace because of their mandates to bring this type of. So it's not investing in hopes of powering a data center, investing in the land, the number one location where these solar, wind, battery energy storage projects are going.
This morning, discussing why today's dirt is tomorrow's gold in land banking. So we're going to go to our next moderator. She was just at my white label course, and we just actually corresponded yesterday. June, good morning and welcome. Thoughts to our discussion this morning with Marcella in regards to land banking. June, are you there? June going once. June going twice. Just showed up out of nowhere. I've known him 16 years. Mr. Bob Cheswick, good morning. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning with Marcella in regards to land bank. Bob? You sound like you're like 100 feet away.
Circle back to me. Let me see if I can fix this.
Yep, no problem. Good morning, Brian, and welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to land banking with Marcella Silva this morning.
Morning, everyone. My name is Brian Guth. I am an investor in upstate New York, Rochester area, just south of our friends in Canada. So we do, my wife and I do fix and flips, fix and holds, Airbnbs. And I mean, I do not have much experience in land banking, so that's it. This is a very interesting topic to me. You know, very much kind of the concept of the BRRRR model. Put some money into it, you know, do something to make that property more valuable, and pull the money back out in order to invest in my next project down the road. So it sounds like, you know, obviously with land banking, I can see the long-term play. Are there any, I guess my question is for Marcella, are there any strategies that you implement in order to kind of pull the capital out at some point to move on to the next project? Or kind of once you're in there, kind of you remain, the capital remains tied up until sale of the land?
Sure. Yeah, thanks for your question. And so, yeah, land banking is sit. We also have investors who are getting long-term land leases as well as new projects. So they'll get 25 to up to 45-year land leases where they have flow. I mean, some of our investors are getting their initial investment back within 1, 2, 3 or 4 years. And the rest is all pure. And yes, of course, you know, you want to talk to lenders and such who would be open to doing those things, but for the most part, it's a buy and hold strategy with land. So we're not putting anything into the land. It's literally just let it work for you. As developments come in, the value continues to go up. Because there's less and less land available. Developers also like to follow each other. Brian, typically most of my investors are not taking monies out of it to buy other things.
Thank you, Marcella. And Brian, thanks for your insight this morning. Felix, good morning and welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to why today's dirt is tomorrow's gold, and with land banking, questions with Marcella this morning.
Grand Rising, Joe. Grand Rising, everybody. Thank you, Marcella, for coming on. Definitely interesting information. Felix Bugles, Jalix, and the Jalix group. It's interesting to learn that, you know, what it is that you're saying as far as land banking goes. I've dealt with land before, obviously just being in the business over 20 years. So I've never heard of that. So it's interesting. I definitely would like to, do you do that land banking in all states like Maryland, Texas, the Carolinas, Georgia?
Sure. Thank you, Felix. No, we only invest in California.
Okay.
Primarily because of the economic trends, also being within a 60-mile radius of deep water ports. Mm-hmm. Ports of LA and ports of Long Beach are the busiest ports in the entire United States. So that also plays into it. We're not just investing in land for green energy projects, by the way. It's also land needed for industrial. You know, the Amazon effect has taken land values in the industrial realm to a whole new level. Mm-hmm. It's crazy how much warehousing and distribution centers are being built for that. So yeah, only specifically in California being the fourth largest economy in the world.
Do you see that green, like let's just sis, or no?
No, we personally would not be going there. So no, we're only focused in California. Am I saying that it can't be done in those other states? No, I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying that we don't do it in those other states. Because again, we want large population and limited land, and then multiple economic trends causing those areas to grow.
And so do you think?
Hold on 1 second, Linda. Go, Felix, why don't you finish your questions? Go ahead.
Yeah. Do you think that it would be advantageous of other people to look to start something like that in any of those states?
I'm open to, you know.
Yeah.
So, and Marcel, we have a couple other people that want to ask a question. We'll go back to Bob too in a minute. My question here is, your training is not just for California. Your training for land banking is national. Am I correct?
No.
Okay.
We only do California, and I'm not training people how to do land banking because there's a lot that goes into it, and knowing how to do the right due diligence is a lot. And that's, our company takes care of all of that. And I do speak to what they do, and that's something.
Got it. So we'll go to Linda, then we'll go to Amy, then we'll go to Bob. Linda?
Joseph, and I apologize for interrupting before, Felix. I wanted to just chime in to let everyone know that people from around the United States have invested in land in California. It's actually a popular way of people in other states purchasing state, because as I mentioned, California is very popular as far as investment. Traditionally, it has had great appreciation. Also, Marcella's company does a lot of due diligence. Investors from across the country that have purchased land in California.
Excellent. Thank you. Give some additional.
The use cases, obviously, founders and the council. So mysterious as well.
We're losing Amy.
The residential. Sorry, did you hear me?
Yeah, I got you now.
Okay, sorry. I'm driving my kid's soccer game. Yeah, so we have more tools available to us now to take out some of the due diligence and mystery out. So I think land banking could be you're trying to determine path of progress. That's all I was going to add.
Marcella, your thoughts?
I don't disagree with her. It's one thing to understand, where it was going. Another to get pieces of land touching each other could be worlds of art and value, even though they're right next to each other, where one property is developable and one is. With the land is also an important piece. And if there's AI tools for that, I'm not personally familiar with it. I just know on our end, all of our properties go through 16 layers of maps to determine if it's, quality developable land beyond just, is this a high growth?
Bob, are you here available to introduce yourself and yet ask a question?
I don't know why I can't get the microphone to work.
You're working fine. I hear you loud and clear. So why don't you do your intro?
Right now it's working. That's weird. I've been playing with it for the past 5 minutes trying to figure out why my phone's being stupid. Okay, so my name is Bob Chesick. I'm president of Chesick Corporation. I help people set up LLCs. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not here to give legal advice. And just thinking about the land banking, before I ask my question, I had an uncle that did a lot of what you would now call land banking back in the first half of the outside of Scranton, Pennsylvania, called Bell Mountain. And if you were to go to that area today, that's where you're going to find Viewmont Mall and pretty much all of the shopping district for the Scranton area just outside the city limits. It was a bunch of stripped out coal mine land that Pennsylvania had deemed was useless and could not be built on. And he wound up selling it to a shrewd man who was able to and the question. Yeah, he had the foresight back in the 1920s or 30s to buy all that land and useless land. And well, so I live in the state of Delaware, and Delaware, for every single piece of developable land, particularly around the beaches in the southern part of the state and in Newcastle County, which is the northern third of the state. And land is becoming extremely scarce. They just approved a bunch of data centers right outside of Wilmington, always like California. Fortunately, doesn't have a lot of land banking left. So if someone's looking into an area to get into another area where land banking isn't a common thing, which I don't believe in Delaware it really is overall, or at least anyone who was involved in it made their money long ago, that would identify a piece of property as a potentially good thing for a land bank for something that may be built 5, 10, or 20 years down the road.
So, I mean, I'm personally not familiar with Delaware, but just looking at what trends are causing growth is actually developable, understanding that. And, there's just looking at the map, it looks like there's a lot of government land there. And it sounds like it's a great potential area, and Delaware is very small. So I have a feeling that land is quite expensive. For us, we're buying land at no more than $2 per square foot. When you start going higher than that, then there's less equity to be made. So I can't really speak for Delaware. But hey, it sounds like an amazing opportunity for that and just understanding, is it developable land going to the cities, going to the counties, kind of doing what your I think you said it was your uncle, your family member, what they did with their land. It sounded like they had to go through steps to be able to create a developable opportunity. For us, we don't get into buying land that would have barriers to development. So I hope that helps. But like I said, we're just focused in very strategic areas where we know demand is high for multiple different trends.
So really agricultural and industrial up until about the mid 1980s. Well, up until about the mid 1980s when it kind of developed into what it is today, and people started moving in. But yeah, the trend in Delaware is people move there because of proximity to major cities. As well as unusually low property taxes for the Northeast, which is what started the trend with Delaware, and some very smart decisions the government made back in the mid 80s to develop a financial center there. So. But no, that's very, very interesting insight. And yeah, my uncle definitely was probably one of the pioneers in the whole concept of that, at least in that region. So it's interesting to hear, and kudos to you for making a business out of it. I always
one thing because I think property taxes were mentioned. So in California, all of our properties are under Proposition 13. So folks are looking at paying no more than 1.3% of the purchase price, and typically because it's land with nothing on it. And
So, thank you, Marcella. And thank you, Bob. And thank you for making a special appearance. So, Marcella, we have a question from the audience. How do you see land values?
Go back to that's why we want areas where there's multiple economic trends causing the area to grow, even when there are downturns. Of Long Beach, people don't stop buying things. Well, as an example, just land is being consumed for massive industrial warehouses and distribution facilities because of the consumer industry. About 40% of all goods coming into the United States is going through there. So we want areas where, like I said, there's multiple trends causing it to grow. In regards to the green energy thing, the downturn has no effect on that because there's mandates, laws on the books pushing that forward to be done at certain times. So it's a matter of being in the right areas. That's why the understanding economy is and what's causing growth is important, so that we don't get stuck in areas like a lost entertainment.
Yeah, Marcel, I really, I think this is something that can be transposed almost in every market. It's just, what's your tolerance and barrier of entry, and what's the exit strictly in California? But to me, I have a colleague he's identifying a piece of land that's 25 acres. He's got to figure out, hey, what's the exiting area? It's 25 acres. It's a lot of acreage, right? There's wetlands. So there's a lot of things that you need to talk to your zoning locally, no matter where you're looking to do this. I mean, this is not a national thing. This is a very local way of making money in a lesser, I would say, elbow grease type of environment. It's a different type of elbow grease, I feel, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like you're digging for opportunity and growth in the market.
Correct. Just to know that when folks invest with us is on the exit, we help our investors negotiate to get the highest and greatest price for their properties. Yeah. Because developers want to get the land as cheaply as possible. I mean, they don't want to pay. Well, that's understandable. And we're in the dirt.
Look at, down the road, I'm still in the multifamily space. But, that gets, as you age, things get a little more daunting, you know what I mean? In taking care of things on a piece of land, you know what I mean?
Exactly. That's why I like it. It's easy. It never calls me on the phone.
Exactly. You're not going to get any bad calls. Yeah. There's not a plumbing leak on a piece of land. You know what I mean? A tree fell. Okay. We're good. You know what I mean?
Don't care.
Yeah. So Marcel, how do we reach out to you in regards to this? What's the best way to reaching out to you? We'll get everything onto the podcast itself once it's cut and edited for you. But how do we reach out to people listening in today on Clubhouse and live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn right now?
Sure. Go to that. Also, you can email me directly, Marcella, MARCEL. I'll do sometime and anyone who's interested in learning more about this.
I really appreciate your time this morning. It was definitely insightful when Linda presented this idea to me, and she's been bringing, various real estate professionals that she has in her circle of influence on the West Coast. A month or so ago, we interviewed a great guy from PadSplit, which we lend on actually at Lend Investors Capital. So I do like this idea. I do like the idea of taking it to more of a shovel-ready process, but I think there's a unique opportunity. I want to thank our moderators because none of the moderators this morning were scripted. Okay, they came in cold with this subject matter. I prepared this subject matter. They look at it, ahead of time on how I have it scheduled. We have subject matter scheduled out to the end of January. This podcast will be loaded through Buzzsprout and loaded to all the other, podcast social media buckets that Yardell Perkins of Perkins provides. I want to thank Linda, of course, for providing the introduction to Marcella this morning and being a part of this podcast now, hitting close to 150 episodes. I want to thank Yardell Perkins of Perkatech and orchestrating all the social media. He's definitely a person you want to have in your team of experts from a social media strategy. He handles all my marketing, my social media team out of the Philippines that does all my video work and podcasting, the newsletters that are popped out of their engagement this morning. My final thoughts to this discussion, at the end of the day, land banking is about positioning yourself ahead of progress, not chasing it. When you understand empty dirt, are effectively buying at the ground floor of future development. That's why today's dirt becomes tomorrow's gold. It's a long-term wealth play rooted in patience, vision, and economic fundamentals. I want to thank everybody for coming on this morning at the Creative Birth Strategies podcast. We're here every Sunday morning, Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m., providing education, networking, and strategy. My name is Joe Scarice, a nationwide direct private lender offering white label programs for individuals that want to broker or become a capital partner with our fund. We also have a referral program where we're paying 1% of origination to referral partners. And then if you're a direct investor, please reach out to me so we can price out your deal, whether it's DSCR, fixed to rent, fixed to flip, new construction, multifamily, bridge financing. I want to also thank MB Capital Solutions, where I'm a referral partner for unsecured business lines of credit, providing unsecured business lines for real estate professionals and B2B professionals nationwide. So my final thought and quote this morning, let's get that in front of me. We always try to put a nice little quote out there. You have to train your mind to be stronger than yourself. Again, this is Joe Scarice. Have a beautiful Sunday morning. Have a great week. Let's stay in touch. Reach out to Marcella, and I'll be ending the room in the next 30 seconds. And thank you. And please go to Amy.
Thank you so much, Joseph. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Also, quick mention, I do pay referral fees as well if that's something you're interested. Peace and blessings, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Make it a great week.
Hey, good morning. I'll catch you right after this.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah. What's up?
All right. So the 6 unit, it's a very unique, small, balanced multifamily. So I had to go outside a lend and offer you two options with other lending sources that I am a white label lender for. You know what I'm saying? So that's a better price one with BD, because I've worked with BD 10 years. I've been underwriting their files for 10 years. So like, if I can't do something or it's funky or the loan amount's weird, your deal is a little weird. It's a small balance multifamily below the threshold where most people like it. You know what I mean? But they would come down on origination to 2%, and then close that deal before the end of the year if you move on. So that's something just to digest. Now, LenderX, these are guys I used to work with at Lending One and Lendmark. They have their own platform where I white label. I trust those guys as well. It's a father-son operation. The father's been in the operations 35 years. So, both are very trusted people that I tie in with, where I can't do something at Lend. They're my backup because I know they're going to get the deal done. You know what I mean? And how's the communication with processing? I saw some emails going back and forth. I wasn't sure that was good, bad, or indifferent. Yeah. What's your vibe on that? Mm-hmm. Was it about you or about the properties? I feel like with these guys, they want to know you, hoping to do repetitive business. So they're probably asking certain things Salesforce that they don't have to ask again. That could be wrong. It was that little step, but do you think they're not going to have to ask for it again if they have it all at one time? I know it's annoying. Yeah, you're pretty. I want the constructive criticism. Do you understand? Because I have a national sales manager. Her name is Lisa Gray. She's been in business quite a while. I mean, she's an Finance of America alumnus, so she's not some dope. You know what I mean? She's a Jersey gal, which makes her even tougher. You know what I mean? So, but she's Syrian Lebanese, and she lives down in North Carolina now. But she's tough and she's good. And I want to have this feedback for her. I said, listen, I got this guy that owns 20 properties. And is it because this is the first time we're working with him? We're never going to ask for this shit again. And I just want to ask that question there because I'm like, this is a guy that's done 20 properties. It's not like he's done 2. Oh, but I look at every single one, bro. Every one. I like it. Legal. On your side, because I put your information in there as point of contact, your lawyer, Stuart Title. It could, I mean, I could check. That's usually John Rinnick. What's his name? Out there in the Northeast. His office is out of North Jersey. So like do New York stuff is not like, foreign territory. So I just want to give you a little update as well. Anthony Williams, who's up in Rochester, is going to start kind of trying to be a broker up there. I'd really like you to be a broker up there because I think there's a lot of money in that space. I think you can nail it down, but I know you're busy. I don't know how the fuck you're going to do it. Yeah. Yeah. Their speed is good. They marry. Yeah, I feel like my processor is very good at what she does. She's very good at what she does. She's Central Jersey, so she's not going to ever not be in touch with you. Now Val is good, and he was very good. I'd love to have her over. I mean, that might be something to discuss with this company in the new year as I build up the broker business. The guys like you. You know what I mean? If I get one deal from every broker per month. You know what I mean? But that's not going to happen. We know this. You know what I mean? Yeah. It took a minute, and they're around much longer. Those guys. They're just their whole way of being is just tough, right? I saw it in 10 days. That's not. I mean, like they had me fooled. This software that I'm working on is the same exact software that Truly has, but they don't know how to connect the dots. Like all the stuff that I was able to push you through quickly, they don't have. They don't have any training either. Like this woman, Lisa, trained me for fucking 2 weeks. She's still training me. Like there's certain things. She's the one that was training everybody at Truly before they all left. This team here at Len was Truly. I don't know if you knew that. I thought I told you that. Yeah, so very interesting dynamics. I just wanted to catch up with you on a couple things. Let me know your thoughts on the 6 unit because I'll be honest with you, asset-based lending, those 2 options I presented to you, like I said, I could bring that the origination on the BD down too. I talked to them already. The other one, I think the rate was a little higher. Yeah. I think the BD is going to be your best option, and they're going to close before the end of the year if you decide to move forward. Their goal is to close them. Like, hey, call me at 5:45, and also you get caught up with a kid, and it's again. If you ever present that to me to white label for others, you and I are going to have that discussion. Hey, Brian, I got to take this here. You're going to make a point, but there's no chance to have that discussion. There's always going to be a couple deals that I can't do directly, but I have listen, I could have 20 great sources, but I only want to listen. Joey Diaz, best way to describe it. You have 3 crazy motherfuckers behind you, you can take over a country. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I'll just take a pass. Because then I know I can. Oh, another lender said they could do it. No, I'll take a pass. Because if 3 people tell me that have as much time, I take a pass. Yeah. Well, I wanted to explain to you. Yeah, I wanted to explain to you this one is a complete anomaly. I had to take it outside the lend because the loan amount was too low for them. But BD stepped up. Listen, I've known Anthony and Jonathan 10 years. I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars with them. Hundreds of thousands. Okay. I also have known JP since I got it. He hired me at Blackstone. So JP hired me at Blackstone to open up Lending One 10 years ago. So I know both these guys. Like, I don't know if you picked up on that. So I'm a 1099 director at LenderX. I'm a W2 regional vice president of sales at Lend. I'm a 10. I don't need much more. People are like, oh, you should get into this. You know, like, yeah, I'm going to take on something that I can split yield. I wouldn't say do it for yourself because I don't want to, or with it. But these guys, I'm split. I get 40% of the yield. So say it's a $250,000 deal. That's at least $2,000. It should be at least back to me, or $1,500. I missed the deal with them. So like, it's not on the HUD. It's a check to follow. Okay, and that could be an extra. If you're working with three clients, and they're sending you a deal a quarter, that just checks coming in the mail. That pays for the tents and all. Dude, I got a buddy of mine that's a fantastic developer. This guy Jojo Quinto, amazing work. He's built $1 million homes in Fishtown. He just adopted his brother's kid because his brother died. He's like, holy shit! He goes, I never thought. He goes, I thought one kid was expensive. Yeah, I'm like, well, Joe, listen, the guy's one of the most respected GC investor guys in Philadelphia. But Joe, become Jaquinto Capital. Become a BDM at the title company. All these people fucking love you. I couldn't get all these people to love me. They fear me when I go to those events. I had my stroke. He got me out of a construction deal that I was in. Yeah, he got me out of it. He fucking did amazing work. We actually sat across from the house. I could barely talk probably 7 years ago. Walk anything. He got me out of it. Single-handedly. I saw that. So this guy's, I'm like, listen, a guy like you, all these realtors are kissing your ass to get your listings, and you're a GC that you can give your life to. No one's going to have a problem charging a 1.5 on a loan. No, so they don't need to know me. So I might be probably an ask for a person. Yeah. But you have my word. If it's something that we can't do with Lend, I will be always fully transparent. If you get suddenly a loan summary from Lender X or BD, I'm giving you the best second option. So I just want you to know, these are guys, like I said, I've known in decades. I'm done experimenting with other companies. You know how many companies want me to white label with? Too many. But they all fuck you. They all fuck you at the end. All of them. You should be. And that's why we're having this conversation on Sunday morning, because I wanted to curb the cautious concern, because we didn't have a chance to chat during the week. I mean, I was fucking busy this week. I was fucking busy. I'm busy. Dude, I'm busy till the 28th. I got a fucking event. So, like I said, let me know. Just take a look at the BD one. I'm a little more in favor of that one than the one with Lender X. They'll cut it down to 2. I called them right away. I said, listen, man, I know this guy. Can you cut it down to 2? I get that, but I'm making the call. You know what I mean? Just send a blessing or send it whatever. And you can always say, right, hey, Joe, based on our conversation, we go with 2% origination. Thanks, Brian. Have a good Sunday.